Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. Coming up on today's show, death to bullpen games. The pressure is so on Kyle Pitts. And last but not least, and for the culture, are you willing to risk it all to bring in a guy like Jaylen Brown? That's all coming up next right here on ATL Day Ones. Let's go.
This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
I want to start off by saying thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. Remember, we are free and available wherever you download your podcast. And wherever you download your podcast, make sure that you leave us a 5-star review. Really appreciate that from you in advance. It is ATL Day Ones, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I also want to give you a quick reminder that this episode of ATL Day Ones is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon today to get started. But guess what, folks? That person that you see sitting right next to me, that's not Tenitra. Nope. That's not Tenitra Batiste. Yeah, she is still out taking a little break, a little vacation. She will be back. She will return tomorrow with us. That is my main man, Dylan Mathews. He is the host of the morning 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. on 92.9 The Game. He's also the producer for the morning shift. So my man out here doing big things. He coming, joining my man. So Dylan, I appreciate you, man. And thank you for joining the show today, man.
Man, it's always a pleasure, brother. You know, if the people don't know, I'm going to go and get a little backstory. Let me take y'all back real quick, man.
Of course.
Jarvis, he is that dude. You know, he's the one that taught me, you know, about everything I needed to know in this game. He's the one that helped me come up in this sports radio world. So always a pleasure, man. I just appreciate you thinking of me, man. And, you know, I'm not the only one doing big things. You and Tenitra doing big things, too. I mean, I be seeing ATL Day Ones everywhere. So, man, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and a privilege, man, and I'm ready to chop it up with you, man.
Absolutely. We got a lot on board today for you guys, as we mentioned earlier. So we're going to go ahead and hop right into it. How about this? All right, the Atlanta Braves take the series against the Seattle Mariners. Jared Shuster actually looks good. Yep. The Bullpen game, that stunk. I'm just going to give my quick thoughts real quick before I bring you in, D. I think it was good to see, you know, Matt Olson doing his thing and Marcelo Zunez continue to tear it up in the month of May. But I think my main takeaway from this series over the weekend, D, is the fact that, you know, I'm really tired of seeing bullpen games. Yeah. You know, and I think, you know, the fact that Jared Shuster showed well against Seattle over the weekend, I think that this is a sign that, hey, you know, one of those young pups is going to stick around, and he's going to be one of the guys that, hey, you know, we don't have to necessarily worry about these bullpen games as much as we've been seeing them as of late.
That's right. I mean, we now is 2 solid starts in a row. We got two pretty good solid starts in a row. This latest one, pretty good. I mean, really after the home run, he didn't give up anything else. Yeah, he got through the top of the first pretty easily.
Tied 12 or 13, yeah.
Right. Yeah. He got banged up a little bit in the top of the first, giving up that solo home run. And after that, it was nothing. Struck out 7, only walked 1. He was good. So he got 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 run. And, I mean, it was solid. So if we can keep getting that from Jared Shuster on a every 5-day basis, that's gravy. I mean, we good. So I really like the fact that Jared Shuster is developing. He's getting better. He talked about it, too, after the game. He was down in AAA working on some stuff and really just finding himself, getting more comfortable, trusting his pitches, trusting his stuff, and that has translated to the big league club now, and you can tell that he's more comfortable. You can tell that if adversity comes his way, like it did in that top of the second inning when he gave up that home run, he can reel it back in, continue to pound the zone, as he said, continue to get outs, and manage the ball game, and trusted his offense, which came through for him. And it was good. So we need more of that. Kyle Wright, Max Fried aren't coming back anytime soon. They'll be back this year, but it's going to be a little minute. So if Jared Shuster, Dylan Dodd, who knows, maybe even Michael Soroka can show up and continue to do the things that we show. Right. I don't know about
I don't want to rush that one, Jack.
Right.
That man had pitched this 2020. He ain't pitched in the major leagues since August of 2020. So yeah, I wouldn't push that narrative too much. But yeah, I'm with you, man. Because when you think about losing the Cy Young runner-up in Max Fried, 21 game winner in Kyle Wright, those are some of the things that it's hard to replace. And if any team is going to be able to possibly do it, it's the Atlanta Braves, because T and I talk about on this show all the time. We always giving, Alex Anthopoulos all the praise and all the honor and all the glory. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about a higher being. I'm talking about Alex Anthopoulos, who's a really good general manager. So we give him all his props on this show when we talk about like that, having that forward thinking, the foresight to have guys in place just in case something were to happen. And I think Dylan Dodd, like you mentioned, he's been a little shaky, but you hope that at some point he starts to figure it out as well, because those guys, he and Jared Shuster, they didn't think that they were going to be a team to make this roster. But like looking at starting rotation, like the two guys I just mentioned, then you add on top of that Bryce Elder, Spencer Strider, and Charlie Morton. You add those guys into the equation. Those guys knew for a fact they were going to be in AAA, but here we are. Right, like you said, Schuster, Max Fried, and Kyle Wright are going to be out to at least after the All-Star break. So Schuster coming out and doing what he did, like you said, having 7 strikeouts. Like you said, retiring 12 of the last 13 batters after he gave up that home run. He had a little shakiness in the 6th inning, but those guys were on 2nd and 3rd, but he was able to get out with 3 outs unscathed. All of those things matter, and Travis d'Arnaud even talked about it as well. He was able to see the difference because he caught him while he was on his concussion stint down in AAA as well. Schuster, that is. So all of those things, those guys are starting to talk about the things that they are super excited about. They are starting to talk about being more comfortable. And another guy that I feel that is getting more comfortable, Dylan, is the fact that when you think about Matt Olson and the start that he got off to this year, and then him start having those conversations, with reporters after games, like, man, this is disgusting. But it was good to see him get everything rolling over the weekend as well.
You are absolutely right, man. That was a sight for sore eyes, because like you said, we were starting to be like, Matt Olson, it's been a minute since this one, bro. Like, what's going on, man? But no, hitting a home run over the weekend, and then seeing Ronnie, who's just been automatic off season, especially in the first inning. I mean, he's batting .524. He's batting .524 in the first inning this season, 22 or 42. So he's an automatic single or at least. And then seeing Matt Olson hit that double and Ronnie scoring from first. I mean, that is what makes this Braves lineup so dangerous. Ronnie being Ronnie, and then you have Matt Olson behind him, hitting a double down the line like we saw, and then that's two batters in, you're already up 1-0, and that's part of the reason that makes this Brave lineup so dangerous. So having Matt Olson in there, hitting the ball, giving some protection behind Ronnie makes all the difference. It makes, again, this Braves lineup even more dangerous. So a sight for sore eyes seeing Matt Olson smack that thing around the park this weekend.
Man, Matt Olson, just to give you a little numbers, just to back this thing up. What I'm talking about, people. We gonna confirm what we talk about on this on this doggone show. That's how we get down. 455 batting average and over 1,700 OPS against the Seattle Mariners over the weekend. So Matt Olson out here doing work. But speaking of doing work, how about this? Dylan, I don't know about you, man. Are you a gambling man?
I did here and there. Like, so I'm gonna give you a quick story. Like my girlfriend Simone, she had a Prize Picks thing, so I downloaded the thing for her, and then I kind of did like not a free trial because I put some money in there, but after the money ran out, I ain't doing no more. So I have dabbled in it before, but not as of late. But yes, I have before.
But guess what, man? I'm gonna tell you, forget Prize Picks. We're gonna tell you about FanDuel Sportsbook, because it is the #1 sportsbook in America. Guess what? Everybody comes and rocks with us Monday through Friday right here on ATL Day Ones, and we are their favorite podcast in their hearts. How about this? FanDuel is the #1 sportsbook in America, and for new customers, they got a really special deal right just for you. It is called the No Sweat First Bet. That's up to $1,000, and that's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. So if you're out here losing your pants, betting on the Lakers and the Celtics to get to the finals, How about that? FanDuel got you covered. They got you covered. They got your back. They're going to look out for you. I promise you. They got you right there waiting just for you. So as the Braves get ready to get started against the Dodgers, as the Denver Nuggets get ready to take on the Lakers and try to sweep those bad boys, go to FanDuel right now because they have the no sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel.com/lockedon. Go to that. Make every moment more with FanDuel because it is the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Seems like I had it wrong all along. I should have been with FanDuel this whole time. I'm tripping.
Yeah, you probably still be making some money out here getting it
exactly
done and doing your doggone thing, man. But check this out, D. When you think about the pressures that come with being a starting quarterback in the NFL, I think Desmond Ridder is that guy, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's probably speaks to what he's going to have to deal with this year, because he was named the starter. And I think Taylor Heineke kind of leaked it out, kind of, spilled the beans, so to speak. Like, I'm coming in here to be the backup. Like, that's what they told me. It was just like, oh. And then Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot then finally confirmed that he was going to be QB1. So I don't think that's not where we're going today, because we understand the pressures and everything that comes with it. But
correct.
What I want to ask you is, I want to talk about is the fact that who do you think has the most pressure coming into the 2023 season on the offensive side of football outside of Desmond Ridder?
Oh, I love that you asked me this question because it might not be who you think it is.
Okay.
It's not Bijan Robinson.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay.
It's Mathews Bergeron, the rookie.
Ooh,
it's Mathews Bergeron. I'm going to tell you why. Jarvis. Not only is he switching positions, obviously he was mainly a tackle over there at Syracuse with the orange.
Right.
But he is moving inside to left guard, as we all know. He's talked about it. The coaches have talked about it. Terry's talked about it. He is, right now, you can't put it in pen, but you can put it in pencil that he's going to be the starting left guard. All indications point that he's going to be the starting left guard. So not only is he a rookie who is looking to start, and the Falcons are looking at him to start, but he's going to be starting at a new position. Now, they do say it's easier to move from tackle to guard than from guard to tackle, which I would agree with. I mean, most people say that. Yeah. You're a lineman yourself. You can attest to that. You can, either way. But not only is he coming in to start at a position he's never played, but it's also at a position where the Atlanta Falcons need somebody to bring in some continuity. They just need to know who their left guard is. When's the last time they've went into the season knowing who their starting left guard is going to be? Because I can't remember. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. It's been a minute.
This regime hasn't been able to say that. And that was one of the reasons why I would have been okay if the Falcons would have drafted an offensive lineman in the first round. I had no issues with that whatsoever. I would have totally understood if they would have traded back, and picked up a guard, Osiris Torrance out of Florida. He was a projected first-round pick, I think, on that back half of the draft. Some of those guys like that. Skoronski, he was a guy that was projected to go to the Falcons right there at 8. So, and I think that was a little bit too rich for my blood, to take him right there.
I'm with you.
So that I kind of understand why he went the way he went. Excuse me, in the draft. But I think that them having somebody that for a fact who is going to be there. And here's the thing, I think this is an excellent pick because I actually like Mathews Bergeron. I got a chance to check out some of his film. The guy has really good balance. I think that he's strong enough where because at the end of the day, a lot of times when a guy moves from that tackle to guard spot, you're talking about the opportunity to make a mistake is much quicker at that guard spot. You know what I mean? And you're closer to the quarterback. You know what I mean? Like you can get away with certain things at that tackle spot that you can't get away in that guard spot because like picture that you're in a phone booth with somebody and you get into a fight. That's exactly what a guard does for 60 minutes on Sundays. Like you basically get into a fight in a phone booth. So when you think about being able to have that quick twitch kind of response and reaction to what the defensive lineman is trying to do, those are some of the things that are a little bit more important than they are at that left tackle spot. Now you got to have excellent footwork regardless.
Right.
You know what I mean? On that outside, because those where the money makers are. If you're blocking the guys that making the most money on the defense side of the football, hey, that's an important position. So I think that him sliding down there, I think it's gonna be very interesting. I think he's gonna have a lot of pressure, but here's where I'm going with it. Here's where I'm going with that. I don't think Bergeron got a lot of pressure. Absolutely, a wholehearted agree. But here's the guy that I feel like really has the pressure on. The dude that was drafted in 2021, 4th overall. Mr. Kyle Pitts, the guy who is the highest drafted tight end in NFL history.
Okay.
Like, imagine what I said. Think about all of the great tight ends that we've seen, in our lifetime. Like I'm talking about Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, all those guys, just amazing guys, right? Those guys weren't even drafted nowhere near where Kyle Pitts was drafted. So when you think about the type of pressure, then last year, he gets hurt. And to be honest with you, Dylan, I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass last year because he was playing with Marcus Mariota. Yeah, I don't know if you're a big fan or not. If you were a big fan of Marcus Mariota last year, that's all. I apologize, but Marcus Mariota missed Kyle Pitts so much last year, so much, and it was just like, and I know for a fact that he was truly frustrated. But yeah.
I just saw a highlight reel, too. It's funny you bring it up. I saw a highlight reel. Well, I guess it's a low light reel in this case.
Yeah, super low.
Kyle Pitts was wide open. And then Marcus Mariota, just missing him. Just high, outside.
6'6", bro. Like, how you missing
how are you missing this man? And Jarvis, like,
NBA basketball wingspan.
Come on. Dude is open. Like, dude is open. Like, dude's usually not that open. Dude is open. And Marcus is just missing.
Yeah.
So to your point, I definitely understand where you're coming from as far as Kyle Pitts goes, because now that you have, hopefully a more accurate quarterback, you can't get much more inaccurate than Marcus, but I'm gonna leave that there.
With you.
But
agreed.
Desmond Ridder should be definitely a more capable passer than Marcus Mariota. So Kyle Pitts, the way we saw you open against Marcus Mariota, against teams last year with Marcus Mariota throwing to you, we need to see you open that same amount of times, but we need to see you hauling in catches this time. Desmond Ridder should be much better at getting you the ball, so we need to see you open just like you were, reeling in the ball and reeling in touchdowns. Again, like you said, we'll give you a pass last year. You had Marcus throwing to you, got injured. But this year, we need to see what your yardage was in your rookie year, but your touchdowns need to be up there too. So looking at close to double-digit touchdowns with the weapons that the Falcons have now, I'm not going to be mad if Kyle Pitts doesn't have double-digit touchdowns, just because I think Desmond will do a good job of spreading it to Drake, because we saw at the end of last year has a great relationship.
There's something there. It's something there. It's something there between he and Drake.
Right.
Light-skinned brothers sticking together over there, dog.
They got to, man. Us light skins got to stick together. You know how it goes. They be trying to sometimes. They be trying to.
The beige boys be catching hell sometimes, dog. So yeah,
no reason, Jarvis. I'm out here for a beige boy sometimes, man. In all seriousness, no. But as long as he's somewhere in that 8 to 10 range, and again, if he's near the yardage that he had in his rookie season, I'm gonna be all good with Kyle Pitts. But the touchdowns have to be in that 8 to 10 range, or higher, of course. And then that yardage needs to be up where it was near his rookie season. And maybe not quite at a clips in 1,000, but close to it, just because I think they are going to do a better job of spreading the ball around with all the weapons that they have this season.
All right, yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on when he returns. Because, I don't know if I necessarily like the fact that he was seen limping around at Flowery Branch. You know what I'm saying?
And that wasn't no slight limp, too. That was like, he was gimpy.
Very, very gimpy. So those are some of the things that I'm going to keep an eye on as far as, okay, when will he return? And then once he returns, how long is it going to take him to get acclimated to, getting back on the field and get back into the mix of things? But real quick, though, I got to ask you this. Who do you think has the most pressure on the defensive side of the football?
Ooh, that's a good question. Most pressure on the defensive side of the ball. You know what? I think it has to be Jeff Okudah. I think it has to be Jeff.
Ooh,
I think got to be Jeff.
First year with the team. Okay.
There's a couple other options out there, but I say Jeff because of this. I really think this is his last real chance at getting a good, sizable contract. He's on a 1-year deal. We know just because of the stipulations of the trade, the Falcons could not pick up his 5th-year option even if they wanted to. So this is a 1-year deal.
They probably weren't going to do it anyway.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. There was no reason for them to do it either way.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a 1-year deal for Jeff. And, this is a guy, he played last year. He had a solid season last year. But other than that, he hasn't been able to be on the field. So he hasn't been able to perform like the 3rd overall pick he was in 2020. So I think this is a real prove-it year for him, and he's got to show out. Otherwise, he might end up being just one of those guys that becomes maybe a little bit of a journeyman, and he might have a little bit hard of a time finding a long-term home. So I think the pressure's on Jeff Okudah. And look, you got a solid pass rush in front of you now. That should help you out in the back end. You got A.J. Terrell on the other side of you. Mike Hughes should be solid in the slot. Maybe even Clark Phillips ends up in that slot position. We'll see. But you got good defensive backs alongside you. You have a good defensive line to help you out as well. And then we'll see what the linebackers are looking like, but they shouldn't be, nothing to sneeze at either. So you have the talent around you. So now you got to perform and show us why you were the 3rd overall pick again in 2020. So I think the pressure's on Jeff Okudah this season.
I think from a personal standpoint, I think that pressure is there, right? Because like when you said, I'm looking at it from a Falcons defensive standpoint. If Okudah stays healthy, he's
should be good.
10 times, 7, 8, 9, 10 times better than what they were lining up out there. Cornell Armstrong, God bless him. But he doesn't need to be started, because at the end of the day, here's what happened last year when offensive teams came to the line of scrimmage last year against the Falcons. 2-4 over there, he right there. I'm going over here. I'm automatically going over here. And they're and teams picked on them constantly. Opposite of A.J. Terrell. A.J. Terrell was out for a little bit too. So, what it was. It was a free-for-all once A.J. Terrell went down last year. So,
like I said, that Cincinnati game, Cornell Armstrong still having nightmares about Jamar Chase.
Bro, he still lost, bro. He's still running. Cornell Armstrong still running right now as we speak, dog. He ain't even got to practice, this week. They got coming up on Wednesday because he's still trying to chase Jamar Chase, dog. So, I think that, I don't think that it's that high with him, but I do believe that there's some personal pressures that he's going to be dealing with this year. And I think a lot of times it's just basically him just staying healthy, because when you get drafted that high, man, there's talent there. You know what I mean? It's just he just had to stay on the field, and unfortunately he didn't do that in Detroit. But real quick, I gotta tell you this, man. The guy that I feel
is. Yeah.
Man, it's Arnie Ebiketie. Absolutely. Because T and I talked about, how Lorenzo Carter, he was a starter last year, fine. And I said before the season was over with, I was like, Lorenzo Carter does not need to be a starter on this team. He is a solid rotational guy to come in on 3rd and long. And they dropped, I think CBS Sports dropped a projected starter lineup maybe about a week ago or so, I think now. Yeah, last week. Yeah. And they had Lorenzo Carter starting. And basically on a 3rd down situation, nickel type package. And I was just like, if Lorenzo Carter is starting on 3rd and long, or if he's out there on 3rd and long, the Falcons are in trouble. And because Arnie Ebiketie has to be that guy. On 3rd and long, he's at one of those end spots. He has to be. Because Calais Campbell, you can slide him down in that D tackle spot, and you kind of work some things with Onyemata and rotate Grady Jarrett and all that stuff. You can work that rotation, but I feel like your 2nd round pick from the previous year should show some growth, or take that 2nd year jump to let you know that, hey, this guy was worth that pick. And I think AK, he showed some flashes last year, but this is the year that I feel like he has to really jump into it and own it.
I completely agree with that, and I want to pick your brain, but before I do that, I will say this. Arnold Ebiketie, you talked about him having flashes last year. I think he did have a lot of flashes. He would really good at spots. It felt like a lot of times he would get there, he would be in the mix.
He was real close.
He just couldn't finish. He just couldn't make that final play. He couldn't make that final hit and get the quarterback or the running back on the ground, either for a sack or a tackle for loss. But let me pick your brain about this, because last year, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I may be, but did we not see a lot of Arnold Ebiketie on one side and Lorenzo Carter on the other side? I mean, could we see a more of that this year, to where maybe they both end up being starters? or should we see a D'Angelo Malone and Arnold Ebiketie in that role? My other question is, and I guess this may be the main question, do you see them being more outside linebacker types or them more hand in the dirt edge guys, like a true edge like Calais Campbell? What role do you see those guys in Arnold Ebiketie and Lorenzo Carter playing this season?
I think Ebiketie and I think D'Angelo Malone, to answer that question, I feel like those guys are going to be guys that are going to come in on third down. Okay. And they're going to figure out to play them in spots, because we all know, and to go back to the whole Ryan Nielsen hire, right? Like, we know he comes from a 4-3 base system. Arthur Smith is not going to tell you exactly what they're going to run. For sure. When you look at the additions in Calais Campbell, he's playing edge / defensive end, whatever you want to refer to him as. He played on the he's the last line of defense on up front with his hand in the dirt.
Correct.
Let's just refer to it as that. Simple, so we can kind of keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that obviously I feel like that's what they're trying to move towards. You see that they drafted Zach Harrison in the third round. Right. You don't draft guys in the third round who you don't think can eventually start for you. He's a guy that's 6'5", 6'6", 275. So, you know, that kind of tells me where they're going. You know what I mean? And obviously you can't do that in the first year because you've drafted guys like D'Angelo Malone and Arnold Ebiketie. And here's going to be the key right here, Dylan. The key is take a look at how big those guys come back at. Like I'm planning on going out there on Wednesday. That's the plan. Hopefully I can be able to get out there and go get a chance to take a look at those guys. But I'm going to be looking at body types. The Arnold Ebiketie put on some weight. Yeah. D'Angelo Malone put on some weight. We know he struggled with putting on weight. I talked to him last year. You know, guy at DeKalb County from Decatur, went to see the Grove. So he talked about how he was eating peanut butter sandwiches, you know what I'm saying, trying to doggone pack that weight on, you know what I mean? So I think that's going to be the indicator as to what the Falcons are going to try to do in year one as Ryan Nielsen as the defensive coordinator. But before we get out of here, D, you know, my mind started to churn a little bit last night when I was watching NBA playoffs, and I want to throw a scenario.
I love scenarios.
I got a scenario for you. And I want you guys to stick around for what that scenario is as well. But first, I want to give a quick thank you, quick shout out to all our everydayers, all the people who've been coming to us each and every day, Monday through Friday with ATL Day Ones. You guys have been rocking with us. We're almost at 7,000 subscribers. We really appreciate you guys for that. That's the only reason we're here is because of you. We thank you. And one of the reasons we're sticking around and still got jobs is because of you. So, yeah, keep coming, keep liking, keep subscribing to our channel. And if you're ever there, drop it in the comment box, and we will make sure we'll shout you out as well. But, Dylan, this is For the Culture. It is the intersection between sports, entertainment, the culture, and sometimes whatever the hell we want to talk about. Because that's just how we get down on the show. Today it's no different. I was watching the demise of the Boston Celtics. We know that series is over. There's no reason for people to start talking about, oh, yeah, this has never been done before, and it's going to continue to be that way. Because cooked. I'm out here getting cooked. What's my boy on that gym?
I can't lie. I'm out here getting cooked right now.
I'm out here getting cooked right now. So I think Joe Mazzulla more than likely is going to get fired, and I think that in addition to that, I feel like it's going to be some moves. Now, we all know about the speculation about the Hawks checking in, quote unquote. That was a report checking in on the situation with Jaylen Brown and all that good stuff. But here's my thing. I know something's going to have to be given up in order for that to happen. So here's what I want to throw at you.
Go ahead. Put it out there. I know where you're going with it.
Would you be willing to give up DeJounte Murray if it meant that you're going to get Jaylen Brown in return?
Bye, DeJounte. Bye.
God, you didn't even think about it, dog.
Bye, DeJounte. Bye. Hey, Jarvis, I'll take it one step further. I told you I was gonna come in here a little spicy. Well,
okay, all right, come on with it.
Get your milk ready, Jarvis. Get your milk ready. If it came down to they wanted Trae Young and we would keep DeJounte Murray, bye, Trae.
Ooh,
I run it with DeJounte. I would even run it with DeJounte and Jaylen. I would do that. I would even run it with DeJounte and Jaylen. I'm not gonna lie to you, Jarvis.
Spicy, that's coming in hot. I'm sweating. You see, I'm sweating over here. I would
sweating. I would give up DeJounte. I would give up Trae. Look, man. Jaylen Brown is an alpha dog. He's ready to be that alpha dog. You know, he can be a great Robin and a Tatum, and they can do some great things if they get the right head coach, in my opinion. I think they were close with Ime Udoka. I don't think Joe Mazzulla, I don't think he's the right guy right now. Maybe down the line, could he be the right guy? But maybe, he ain't ready right now because right now he got them boys playing with no heart, no mental toughness. I mean, they just folded. They just folded, man. Yeah. But I would take Jaylen Brown for either DeJounte. I would take him for Trae Young. If somehow you can keep him and you could just send John Collins over there, do it. But anything to get Jaylen Brown here, do it. Pull the trigger, Landry, because Jaylen Brown can be an alpha. Names. We name dropping. Landry, do it, man. Come on, man. Because Jaylen is ready to be an alpha. He is ready to lead a team. He showed me enough this postseason and in seasons past and in postseasons past that he can be that number one dude. He can be that alpha dog. And if you put a guy like Trae Young next to him, for sure, if you put a guy like DeJounte Murray next to him and you surround those guys with, some manageable talent, give them a solid bench, I think they can make something shake. I think Jaylen Brown is a good enough two-way player. If it was a scenario where they kept DeJounte Murray, I think he's a good enough two-way player. I think Trae is starting to do enough as a defender. He's not there yet, but he did show some signs this season. Yeah. The effort is there now. At least we're getting some effort.
Give him that, yeah.
Exactly. But I think to stick to your scenario, we give up DeJounte. I think Quinn Snyder has, at least for right now, seems like he has a good connection with Trae. I think he would be fine coaching up Jaylen Brown as well. And again, you just get the right pieces around him. As the boys on TNT like to say, if you get the right others around them, I think they can make something happen. So sign me up every day, all day, 24/7, 365 for Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, and I think that, in order for that to get done, I think it's going to take a little bit more than that to get done, obviously, right? Because here's the thing. Like I think that DeJounte Murray feels a need for Boston because they ain't got no point guard. Like, y'all can say Marcus Smart. That's what it is. Yeah, okay.
And Derek White is cool, but he's a dude. Like he's not DeJounte Murray. He's not DeJounte Murray.
No, not at all. He's not DeJounte Murray at all. So I think that would be that will fill the need. And I think that you also have to kind of give him a wing back in return. You know what I'm saying? I know you probably wouldn't mind parting ways with DeAndre Hunter. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
Like, yeah, man, go ahead. Go on DeAndre. Maybe you and DJ can get y'all a little room together. And I hate to be saying it like that because I really, really like DeJounte Murray.
Me too.
At my heart. Like, getting a chance to talk to the cat when he first came in, you can kind of just tell he's built different. He's cut from a different cloth. Like, and those dudes, like, you don't necessarily really get rid of those dudes unless you are getting an absolute dude in return. I think that Jaylen Brown is that dude that you should receive if you were actually considering, getting rid of a guy like that. But, yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting once the finals are over and we start to get into free agency and people in the draft and all that stuff, we'll start figuring out what's going on. All these pieces start falling into place because I think that Landry Fields has the mindset. Who's the guy you just called out, the general manager of the Atlanta Hawks? You know what I'm saying? I do feel like he has the gumption to pull something off like this. Yeah. I think it's just a matter of whether or not the dude cutting the checks is going to sign off on it. So
there you go.
We got some financial situation that the Hawks are going to have to deal with, and it's called luxury tax and aprons. And I ain't talking about the ones you wear around your waist.
So, ain't talking about those.
No, not talking about those at all. But, man, one thing I want to say is to each and every person out here is thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. Remember, all you everydayers, all you guys have been coming to us each and every day. We really appreciate you. Like you said, we're almost up to 7,000 subscribers right here on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and or just download our podcast wherever you download your podcast. We're on the audio side as well. We got you covered on all bases. And Dylan, man, I really appreciate you for hopping on with, man. I really appreciate that, my brother. Thanks for joining us, man. Hopefully you'll be able to return at some point, my brother.
Hey, man, whenever you want me, you got me, man. I appreciate you having me on, Jarvis. Thank y'all so much. Keep doing your thing. I love y'all show. You and T got great chemistry. And anytime y'all want to have me back, I'm always ready to rock.
And Tenitra will be back tomorrow, I believe. So, yeah, if you into that sort of thing, which I know you are. I know y'all love Tenitra. So she'll be back tomorrow, and we'll download with her then. And last but not least, before we get out of here, make sure that you guys, if you don't do anything else for the rest of your life, this is super important. If you don't do anything else, make sure that you share love, show love, and most importantly, spread love.
it.